Stand by.
Rolling. Audio speed. Rolling.
Okay. Brett, number 10. Action.
Well, hello. Welcome to another session of Be Kinetic. And you know me by now. There's something of this dynamic word of kinetic, of movement, of going forward, of being efficacious, of making things happen. And I think it's within this context that we do have sessions around how to be successful in life, how to take hold of our destiny, of the things that we are looking for. And so we've already had 2 sessions about the necessity of taking responsibility, and we're definitely going to be looking at a lot of other dynamics. But today I just want to take a few moments around the concept of being yourself. So I think when you read all these success literature, it's all of these great points, and again, we are going to be talking about that. I really believe in them. But at the end of the day, is if I'm doing something that is not true to myself, it becomes a lot of effort, it becomes a lot of work, and then we're going to struggle at it. So I was out on a trip one day, and we were busy, or it was a hunting trip, and as we were walking around, my friend came across a spoor. And he started to look at it, and he told me that it happened to be this buck. And I was quite impressed. And I go, how do you know? And he's going, well, because it looks like this and, this size. And he had a whole explanation. And it dawned upon me is that when it comes to hunting, it's critical to understand and to know the differences in spoor. So let's just say that we're trying to track an impala, and we happen to come across a spoor of a lion, but we didn't know the difference. So we're tracking down what we think's an impala, but we're going to come onto the lion, and what's going to happen there? I mean, we're going to be in an awkward situation. Our lives are going to be under threat. It's going to be a really challenging just experience, and it's not going to be pleasant at all. And so I think our challenge in life is to read what is our spoor. Are we tracking down the real us? Is there something about knowing who we are instead of trying to put other people's spoor prints on us, other people's destiny, personality, something of their design, because we're not reading ourselves. And there's a great book, a very easy read book by John Mason that talks about is that we are all born originals, but we mustn't die as a copy. And so there's something about, as we read the books, as we talk to successful people, as we watch TED Talk, as there's these type of dynamics and we're exposed to these encouraging and motivating concepts, are we taking those that align to who we are? Are we keeping our uniqueness? Are we approaching life with all of these tools, all of these experiences, all of these aids, but in a way that is still special and unique to us? Because as soon as we try to be someone else, it becomes awkward, it becomes uncomfortable. It's like wearing someone else's jacket, but it's not designed for you, it's not fit for you, and it's either too big and then it's clumsy, or it's too tight and you can barely move. And so really part of being successful is being true to yourself, is really getting to know who you are. Now, part of that dynamic is realizing that success comes from you. It's not about so much external factors. It's coming from the inside of who you are. And one of the easy ways to demonstrate this is I have this bottle of water. And so often in life is that life shakes us up and we go through challenges and we go through difficulties. And at the end of the day, is if I shake this bottle of water, what's going to come out of it? Well, obviously water is going to come out of it. And if there was Coke inside and I was shaking it up, what's going to pour out? Coke is going to come out because that is what's inside. And so it's really easy for us to see what is our character. When life shakes us, when we go through a difficult patch, when we are experiencing stress, when we're in conflict, what comes out of us, because that's a reflection of what's within us. And so many times is we're not having the success we want, and then we blame circumstances, we blame people for our experience. And instead of saying, those experiences might be true, obviously I'm shaking the water up, it's an external factor, but what comes out is based on what is inside. And so if we respond in a negative way, in an ineffective way, an unhelpful way, it's not because of the circumstances, it's because of what is in us. And I'll never forget, many years ago, I had the fortunate privilege of living in Seattle, and I just, was exposed to a very interesting dynamic is that what had happened, they basically wanted to design a new park for the kids. And so when I came there in the beginning of the year, is they didn't have enough space. So they took an old dumping area, and above all the trash and the rubbish is they took all of this wonderful soil and they put it on top of the garbage dump, and then they planted all the grass. And when the grass started to grow, is they had all these jungle gyms and swings and slides, and it was a beautiful park for the kids. And obviously that people in the suburbs would come and play at the park, and it was a huge attraction in the beginning. But it didn't take long to realize that kids were starting to get sick. And so one mommy would talk to the other mommy and say, my son Johnny has just got these incredible tummy pains. And then the other mom would say, but Sean is also always getting sick. And they started to pick up the trend is that all of these kids were playing at this park. So they brought in some scientists, and what they found is that the methane and all the garbage under the ground, under this beautiful soil, started to seep through and started to have an impact and making these kids sick. And so often is that when we try to take the success principles, is we want to put them on our lives without dealing with the rubbish, the garbage, our past within our lives, and as a result, it then has an impact on how we are living. Now, the great thing for me is that we can change. We can take that which is in our past and we can put it off. Is that we are not dominated by our past experiences and our past failures. And so we might have had Coke in this. It's okay. We can pour it out and then put water in. And so we are not limited. We are not bound. We are not victims to what has happened to us in the past. But if we find that our lives are toxic, or maybe not that extreme, but we're not enjoying the fullness, we're not flourishing in the way that we want to, is we might want to take a little introspection, a time to reflect and look at ourselves and go, is there something in me that is coming out that is hampering the type of life that I want to live? And so to kind of wrap this session up is many times what I experience is almost like a plane. An airplane is it takes off into the air and it's flying and it's going to a destination. And typically what will happen is that the pilot will then put the plane on autopilot because it's going to take it to the destination. Now, using this as a metaphor, imagine that we're flying from one city to another city, and all of a sudden the pilot goes, you know what, I no longer want to go to that city, I want to go to another city. And I think many times that's how we experience in life, is that as we journey, we go, I no longer want to have that destination. I now have new goals. I want to be a different person. I want to be more dynamic. I want to achieve more. I want to make more money, whatever it might be. And I want to change my path. I want to change my destination. And so using the metaphors, what happens is the pilot takes the yoke and he now yanks it to the left or the right so that he can redirect the plane to the new goal, the new destination. But if he doesn't turn off the automatic pilot, what will happen is it will go in that direction as long as the plane is being forced. But as soon as he lets go of the yoke, what's going to happen is the plane will realign itself and go back to its original destination. And I think that's most probably one of our biggest challenges is that, we watch a motivational program and all of a sudden we're going to lose weight and we're going to be disciplined. And what do? Is we take the reins of our lives and for a week we wake up early and we eat right and we go to gym. And then what happens is we start to get into the routine of life and we take the discipline, the control of our life, and we go back into automatic mode. And what happens is we go right back into our previous way of living. Now, the great news is that there's a huge difference between who I am and what I do. Is that I can separate my behaviors from my personality. And many times with my kids is they'll do something that annoys me or it's not within their potential. Instead of saying to, let's say Keenan as an example, I go, you stupid child, you bad child, you whatever. What am I doing is I'm breaking down his potential. Instead of doing that is I'll often use this phrase, this is not like you. This is not who you are. So your behaviors is not acceptable. I don't appreciate your behaviors. I don't like your behaviors. Your behaviors is hindering you. It's restricting you from where you want to go. But guess what? You are bigger than your behaviors. This is not like you. And so when you find that your life is going in a direction that you don't like, is guess what? Without having to go into this discipline mode, is there something go, wait a minute, this is not like me. and you can readjust your automatic pilot to get you to the destination you want. And so as we continue with this series and we start to wrestle with these concepts and we start to break it down, is we're going to look at ways of how do we set this new automatic pilot so that we are true to who we are as people and we can get the success that we are looking for. So really excited for what is coming. I hope you have an awesome day further. And as we keep journeying, be kinetic.